So I have a routine, and I don't know if I've told you about this, Matt, before, but I have a routine where they become YouTube stars and their channel is really original and really, something that nobody's done before.
Yep.
And from the first person, this bit went off the rails because the first person was a girl. She was in crutches because it looked like she had a broken foot.
Oh,
and she said, I said, what's your YouTube channel? First one right off the bat. She goes, I hit old people with my crutches in the mall.
Oh, there's an honest statement.
It went downhill from there. I mean, I think everybody else kind of
Mm.
took her lead, and it just got weirder and weirder.
Was she hypnotized when she said that?
Yeah. That these were all hypnotized people. So, but I even said after I got through most of the volunteers, I'm like, is this a correctional school? What is going on here? What is happening?
Well,
yeah, it was crazy.
Just run with it.
What in blazes are you talking about?
Yeah. So anyway, great show. They had a blast. Again, I return there every year. So
excellent.
Makokata High School. Good job. So if you're interested in a show, and I know, again, grad season's coming up and my dates are quickly filling up. So if you're interested in having a hypnotist for your grad night, MotorCityHypnotist.com shows. Check it out. You can book me online without talking to anyone.
Right.
You'll get your quote. You can sign it online. You can book it online. You never have to talk to anyone.
Okay.
So check that out. My social media, Facebook and YouTube, are both Motor City Hypnotist. And Snapchat and Instagram are both Motor City Hypno. That is HYPNO. And for your free hypnosis guide, which you give away on every episode, again, the hypnosis guide is a PDF that I wrote, and kind of in basic terms, explains what hypnosis is, what it's not,
some
dispels myths and misconceptions and things like that. So that's yours for free. Just text the word hypnosis to 313-800-8510.
Bring it.
And if you need to find that number again, you can look in the show notes, or you can go right to my website because the phone number is right there. You can text the word hypnosis to the phone number that's on the website.
You make it very
That
easy.
is this number. The biggest thing, wherever you're listening, whatever podcast platform you're listening on, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, whatever, leave a review. And subscribe, link, connect, pledge, whatever you do on your, because every platform's different. They call it something different, but
firstborn,
but connect with the podcast. That way you get it every time it drops and you don't have to look for it.
All right.
It'll hit your device as soon as it drops.
That works.
Awesome. Cool. And the biggest thing, like I said, leave a review. That helps us out, helps more people get to the show. And of course it just helps us grow. So fantastic.
Yep.
So I would appreciate it very much. All right, it is time.
Here we go.
Here we go.
That's how winning is done.
I almost want to take a stab at what the winner of the week is.
Okay,
based on
try.
Based on your apparel.
Based on my apparel,
I'm gonna say it's gonna have to do something with the draft.
It does not.
Darn it!
I'm in my apparel today, and those of you watching Facebook Live where you can see me, I don't typically wear ball caps in my podcast, but I was golfing today, so yeah, I did 18 holes this afternoon, and just thought, okay, this is what I'm wearing.
18 on a Monday, okay?
Yeah, 18 on a Monday. That's it. Yeah, I know it's crazy.
No, don't shut me up.
All right, so who is our winner of the week?
Let me read the story. Becky Arbaugh, a manager at the Taco Bell in Richboro, Pennsylvania, saved a woman's 11-week-old son in the drive-thru by performing CPR.
I was going to say, were they choking on a quesadilla?
Well, I don't know. Maybe a taco hit him wrong or something.
All right.
At the Richboro Taco Bell outside of Philadelphia, manager Becky Arbaugh wasn't working the lunch rush, but was around nevertheless. She heard a scream coming from the drive-thru window, followed by the harrowing words, "Call 911, the baby isn't breathing."
Okay.
Yeah, that's freaky. The phone would have to wait as Arbaugh threw off her headset and rushed to see the situation. Just outside the drive-thru window, she saw Natasha Long holding the lifeless blue body of her 11-week-old son, Miles.
Goodness.
The mom was panicked, Arbaugh told Good Morning America. I told her to give him to me and I performed CPR. I was trying to calm her down and comfort her and reassure her that he will be fine. The baby finally started to breathe. The ambulance came pretty quickly and then they took over, Arbaugh said. The EMT said I saved his life.
Mm-hmm.
The baby, the circumstances could not have been more fortunate for Miles because Arbaugh, a mother to 4 children herself, has already restarted the heart of her daughter a few times due to medical complications.
Oh my goodness.
So this woman has had to do this with her own kid before. So it's like, talk about being fortunate or destiny or whatever you want to call it.
He does work
being in the right place at
Yeah.
the right time in a Taco Bell drive-thru.
He works in mysterious ways.
In an emailed statement to ABC News, the spokesperson for Taco Bell said, "We are incredibly proud of Becky for her heroic act earlier this week. We are getting in touch to express appreciation for her quick actions and kindness, and we'll give her a free Crunch Wrap." I added that. I'm sorry. That's not true.
I was about to reach over the table.
What in places are you talking
I was
about?
going to smack you for that. I'm like, really?
What happened?
So no, I'm sure they will take care of her more than a Crunch Wrap.
I
So
would
I'm
hope
just
so.
saying. As for her Taco Bell family, Good Morning America said that store members and those in other locations have showered her with messages of appreciation, while Mother Natasha spoke with Arbaugh on the phone the next day to express what the mother's reading can only imagine would be heartfelt gratitude.
Sure.
So yeah, fantastic story. I mean, again, these things probably happen all the time, but we don't hear about them.
No, we don't.
These things don't get reported in general on the news or whatever. But
Sure.
but again, that's why I bring these stories up. So Becky Arbaugh,
If Becky hadn't have saved the baby, we wouldn't have,
with
we wouldn't have a Spider-Man.
no, there would wouldn't have a what?
Spider-Man. Miles.
Oh, Miles Morales.
Yeah.
I got it.
Like this in the background. What the fuck is it with you?
I don't even know what you said.
What happened?
What happened?
Oh my goodness.
What happened?
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right, all right.
So anyway, Becky Arbaugh, big shout out, definitely winner of the week.
That's how winning is done.
I couldn't help myself.
Well, you don't usually can. You know? I mean, I'm just saying.
I ain't listening to you no more.
Never said you had to.
Uh,
All right, so we're gonna get heavy a little
so
bit.
no, well, a little bit.
All right.
Hold on, before we get.
So, back to it.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
So Negan, help me out here.
So we're talking about coping with traumatic events. That's the title of our episode,
Okay.
and it'll be a part 1 and 2 as we usually do. But I know, like I said in the intro, that this topic can be heavy, but what I'm here to do is to give you some insight and to help you as far as getting through some of these things that many people deal with. And just to start off, I'm going to give you a couple of statistics.
Okay.
60% of all Americans report having a traumatic event with either physical, emotional, or mental abuse.
All right. Repeat that.
60% of Americans report having trauma in their past of either physical, mental, or emotional abuse.
Okay. 60%.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
I mean, that's a majority of our population. Think about that for a minute. So some, again, can be more than others. And some things can be something that's like outside of you. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. For some people, watching the news becomes stress. It becomes anxiety provoking, just seeing stories of things that happen or bad things. And an example of this was just this past weekend. There was a down near, oh shoot, I'm not going to remember the exact area, down in the Monroe area, south of Michigan.
Oh, yep.
There was a children's birthday party going on. A woman drove through the wall
I saw that news
and
story
killed
this morning. Yes.
3 people.
Yes.
2 of them were siblings, 2 young siblings under the age of 10.
And I believe that
And
alcohol might have been involved. too.
Yeah, it sounds like alcohol was. But think about that. That's a traumatic event. Even if so in this, I don't want this to sound uncaring, but you know, having your children killed, that's a traumatic event. But I'm talking about just the people who witnessed it. That's a traumatic event.
Sure.
The law enforcement people who had to deal with it, that's a traumatic event.
Sure.
And again, I'm not saying this is typically something they deal with, but again, it's trauma nonetheless. So some things can happen outside of your own life that can cause you trauma, if that makes sense. So the big question is, in general, how do people respond to a traumatic event? You know, and just to define this, it's something that's shocking or scary or dangerous or life-threatening, and it can affect people emotionally and physically and mentally. Natural disasters. and I'm bringing up things that are outside of our control,
Right.
hurricanes, tornadoes, things like that, acts of violence, being held up by gunpoint or being robbed or being physically assaulted.
Mhm.
These are all things. And then again, we get into the larger outside of us, events like mass shootings
Mhm.
or terrorist events.
Mhm.
Again, it's I'm not going to say it's not affecting your life directly, but it does bring up that element of fear and just trauma.
Mhm.
That's what it does.
Hello, COVID.
So I can remember COVID is a big one.
Yeah.
And we talked about that the last couple episodes,
Right.
and how people deal with COVID and the long lasting effects on that, mental health effects on that. But I remember one of the biggest ones, and again, I can say this because it's been a long time now, but not long enough. When the 9/11 attacks happened,
Yep.
I swear to you, I'm telling you from my opinion. Again, it didn't affect me directly. I didn't know anyone that was involved in that or victims of that. But for a couple of weeks, I had a really hard time sleeping, just replaying that over and over in my head. And this is what happens with traumatic events.
Yeah.
And from the therapist point of view, let me tell you what happens when you're experiencing PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mhm.
When you think about an event that happened to you, you're reliving it.
Mhm.
You're reliving it like it's happening again right now. And they do that
Today,
over and over and over again.
I remember exactly where I was
Mhm.
when 9/11 happened.
Yeah. Yep.
I knew exactly what I was doing. I
Right.
remember my exact environment when it happened. That has never left my brain.
Yep. And that happens. And that is trauma. That's what happens. And sometimes here's the thing. It doesn't have to be something that major or
Mhm.
that dramatic. And I was talking to Matt before the show started, and we were talking about, well, what is like experienced trauma is different for everyone. Now, granted, if you're physically assaulted or held up by gunpoint,
Mhm.
that's trauma. We understand that. But things that you wouldn't even think could be traumatic to you,
Like I said,
could
the
be traumatic.
the smallest
Yes.
little thing.
So I'm going to tell you a story. I'm a big Stephen King fan.
Yes, I do.
So uh, without explaining too much, in his Dark Tower series, I had the I don't know if it's in the printed version, but in audiobook, they have a coda. They have an after to one of the books near the end of the series.
Okay.
And and Stephen King was talking about when he was a kid, he got punished for doing something wrong, he and his brother. And their punishment, they lived with their aunt and uncle at the time,
Mhm.
was to go out to the barn and cut wood.
Okay.
Sounds pretty innocuous and pretty innocent. But while he was in the barn, Stephen King saw this chicken that was infested with all these tiny red spiders.
Oh, yeah.
And to this day, I mean, he acknowledges in this that traumatized me. I
Yeah.
couldn't get it out of my head. I couldn't sleep for weeks. It just, even as an adult, he
Mhm.
says he still thinks about it in his head. So, I mean, again, that wasn't life-threatening or something that was like a major terrorist attack, but for him, that was a traumatic event, and
Mhm.
it stayed in his head and it's affected him. So it doesn't have to be something as big as the things that we've talked to.
Mhm.
So here's the big thing. And to start off, if you've been a victim or you've experienced a traumatic event, it's natural to feel fear.
Mhm.
That comes along with it, because some people, how do I say this? Some people don't like the feeling of fear. Of course, who would?
Well, we've talked about
It's the fight or flight.
It's the
Yeah,
fight or
exactly. And that's exactly the next thing I was going to go into.
flight, or freeze.
And the fight or flight
Yeah.
is our natural reaction to avoiding potential danger. That's how it works.
Mhm.
So you either fight or flight. Those are the two choices. So a lot of the reactions after a trauma include the following: feeling anxious or sad or
Mhm.
angry, trouble concentrating and sleeping, continually thinking and replaying about what happened. It's like this continuous loop in your head that
Yep.
you can't get out. So here's the thing. In most cases, most people will recover from these symptoms over time.
Over
It's
time.
like
Yeah.
anything else. A traumatic event the effects can decrease over time.
That's fair.
For some people, though, that doesn't. Some people get stuck just constantly going back to that. And I've had a lot of clients over the years who have had childhood trauma, and they're in their 50s and they're still
It's something that
it
sparks
still
it. It's
just
there.
comes up, and it can come out of nowhere sometimes. Some innocuous event can have them thinking about it again.
Right.
So that's the difficulty with PTSD. So let me give you some symptoms that you might be experiencing. Because here's the thing. A lot of people have experienced traumatic events and they're not aware that they're experiencing PTSD. They just know that something's wrong, if that makes sense. So they have a hard time defining what PTSD is and that they're experiencing that. So I'm going to give you some symptoms. If you worry a lot or you feel very anxious, sad, or fearful.
Okay.
Crying often and uncontrollably.
Okay.
That can happen with people.
Sure.
Having trouble thinking clearly.
Was that like brain fog almost?
Brain fog or not recalling things or just having a hard time focusing.
Okay.
Having frightening thoughts or flashbacks, reliving the experience. And I mentioned that a few moments ago. It's like reliving it over and over again.
But is it something that triggers that, or it just
something may trigger it. It may just come out of nowhere. You just don't know. It's like this loop in your mind. So when people experience trauma, there's our mind does a funny thing. It notes it, but it tries to move on from it. But that bookmark is always there.
Right.
It's always sticking out. You can always see it. And every once in a while, you just go back to it and you think about it again.
That's why it's so important to remember, our vets, they serve, they're in a war, and they're around bombs going off and everything. And then 4th of July comes around and everyone's out there shooting them off.
And these are things that society kind of, I'm not going to say they ignore it. I'm just saying they don't think about it, because if you haven't experienced it, you don't get it.
Right.
You don't really know. Oh, I should be able to light off fireworks. Who cares?
Right.
But you don't realize the effect it may have on other
but
people.
my dog, Dave.
I know. No, but see, dogs are a good example, and I'm not equating dogs to humans. Don't get me wrong.
I'm just
that's crazy. I'm just,
Oh, good for
but
you.
it's the same that dogs get scared of those loud noises.
Well,
and,
sure.
They relive it every single year.
right.
Or
Well,
something may have happened in their
in-
puppyhood, right? And they might have been abused as a puppy.
I mean, maybe so.
It's not just for humans. This is across all species.
Well, sure. And even though they're not self-aware or have deductive reasoning, the noise itself is what sets them off.
My dog was smarter than I am, so I'm just gonna say.
Really? Is that true?
He was more in tune to the world than I was.
Oh, good
Just
for
saying.
you.
No, I get it. The other thing that happens is feeling angry, resentful, or irritable. And this is one of the symptoms that a lot of people have difficulty nailing down. They feel like I'm angry all the time and they don't know why. Or I'm feeling, I'm having feelings of I'm resenting someone or something, or I'm very irritable all the time. And they may not know why that's happening. They don't know that this could be coming from a trauma that happened 20, 30, 50 years ago.
Sure.
But they know that something is wrong.
Or they blocked it out and
in there is a defense mechanism in our brains that blocks out things like that.
Right.
But it's still there. It's kind of like painting over something that's bad. It's covered, but it's still there.
Sure.
And every once in a while it'll pop out.
Oh, I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. It was called it was like part 3. It was called Red Door. It had something it was a horror series, like
okay, yeah, I don't know that one.
And then the last one was called Red Door, where he had painted over the door, and it was actually a red door. He painted over black.
Okay,
it was one of those.
It's a Rolling Stones fan.
Yeah, no,
like a chicken.
Buck, but still. But yeah, that's kind of the same mentality. You just paint over and just move on. So
some other symptoms that you may be PTSD and you don't know it: having nightmares or difficulty sleeping. A lot of people have insomnia. I'm a part of a lot of groups on Facebook that deal with mental health, and I'm part of this insomnia support group that I kind of chime in on every so often.
The 3 a.m. thing is just kind of new.
Well, but these people, I'm telling you, these, and here's the thing, and I have to take it with a little grain of salt, because this is what people are saying. I don't know what reality is, because I just read a post, I'm not kidding, today, when I was in that group. They said, I haven't slept in a month. And I'm like, well, that's not true because you'd be dead.
Right. Have you read Stephen King,
Yeah.
Insomnia?
Well, I'm just saying. So I always take that with a grain of salt as far as, okay, yeah, I'm sure you have insomnia, but you have slept in the last month or you wouldn't be posting here.
Right.
Just saying.
What are you people? On dope?
That's why they haven't slept in a month.
Right. Yeah, they could be, or maybe they need dope.
Right.
Take an edible or something. I don't know. Do something.
Yeah.
I mean, if you, here's the other thing. And I don't even know who this person is. I don't know. They're probably not listening, so I can say this, but, oh wait, Kendra said no sound on Facebook Live.
I already took care of it.
Oh, you got it.
I
Okay.
took care of
Okay.
that.
I just saw it.
I already took care of it.
You're good, Matt.
Clean out your desk. You're gone.
Bye. Good luck.
I just saw it and I know it was like a half hour ago, so we're good. That totally threw me off. What was I saying?
You were about to tell us about somebody that had posted.
Oh yeah, somebody posted they hadn't slept in a month. Okay, listen, yes, I know you're exaggerating, and I know, but I don't doubt that you're dealing with something. I
Sure.
don't doubt that you have some insomnia and some issues, and that is one of the big thing that especially having nightmares. And I know the subconscious mind is a crazy place, as our an episode that we did 100 or 150 episodes ago, Clint Malarchuk, the goalie.
Yes.
Remember, he got his throat slit by a skate
Yes.
and almost died on the ice.
Yeah, that's a traumatic event.
Yeah, that's a traumatic event. And Clint Malarchuk, his quote, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have it in front of me.
Was it? What?
What in blazes are you talking about?
I ain't listening to you no more.
So anyway, he stated afterwards he ended up recovering from that,
Yes,
and then going into a deep depression, again, part of PTSD.
Uh-huh.
And he said something that I use it all the time with my clients. He said, my mind is a dangerous place. I never travel in my mind alone. That's why I have a therapist.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a profound statement because I've never heard it be put quite like that.
Sure.
So, so those of you who are having nightmares or difficulty sleeping, it could be something much deeper. So just be aware of that.
All right.
Avoiding places or people that bring back unpleasant memories.
Well, I want to dig into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because, personally, I've had a lot of things happen.
Sure.
And there are certain times where I will go and visit certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I can't, I just have to leave.
No. And that's your, I don't know if you call it your brain or your soul or whatever.
More of an
telling you
response?
that I don't feel right. I need to change my environment.
Right.
And honestly, that's a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're somewhere and you don't feel comfortable, that's your body telling you. Now it can be, to be fair, that can be taken to extremes where people just shut in and never leave their house. That's not healthy either.
That's fair.
But you have to listen to your mind and your body.
All right.
Again, and this leads into the next thing, becoming isolated from family and friends.
Right.
If you're isolating and you don't want to deal with anyone, and you have even some of these other symptoms, you could be a victim of PTSD. You could be experiencing that. So here's the thing. We're going to go in and talk about the differences between adults and children and teens and how they react to PTSD.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to give you some specific things that you can do if you are suffering from some sort of trauma after the fact.
All right.
And that will be coming up in part
All
two
right.
of dealing with trauma.
Way to leave me hanging over here.
I know. Those of you on Facebook Live, stay there. We're going to be right back.
All right.
Before we go, we have our dog of the week.
Oh, yes, we do.
We do.
Who is it? Who would
be? Betsy.
Betsy.
Yeah,
okay.
Betsy is one of our dogs of the week. Now, Betsy is not at Detroit Dog Rescue. She's actually at Woodhaven Animal Shelter.
Oh, okay. Right in your neighborhood.
Right in my backyard.
Yeah.
Betsy is still here. I just pulled it off their website today.
Okay.
This girl needs to be in a home that has nice soft beds, not a dog kennel. Please help us find her a home. So here's the thing. and I know this is a very specialized population that may do this, but I'm going to, I want to get Betsy a home.
Okay.
Betsy is 14 years old and looking for a nice, warm place to retire.
Senior dog.
Senior
Okay.
dog.
All
She
right.
is sweet, likes walks, pork chops, and just to hang with her people.
She likes pork chops.
Well,
That's
what dog wouldn't? I mean,
That's
I'm just saying. She's spayed, dewormed, and current with vaccines. Her adoption fee is now sponsored. She weighs about 60 pounds. Not sure how she is with cats. We don't recommend small children. If you have another dog, we would need to do a meet and greet to see if he would be amenable to it.
okay. Is it a female?
It's a her, yes. If you would like to meet her, please come to the shelter Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Appointment hours available.
Is there a photo of Betsy?
There is a photo of Betsy. I'm going to show it to you.
All right.
So here's the thing, and I know this is a very specific. I'm not going to say skill set. It's very specific human quality, let's say,
Okay.
to take in a senior dog, knowing that
They're not going to be around.
might be a year,
Yeah.
might be 6 months, might
Yeah.
be 2 years. Who
It's-
knows? But that need, I've shared this with the other adoption dogs that we've shared with us. A
Mhm.
lot of them had maybe owners who passed away,
Mhm.
or somebody who can't take care of them anymore, and it takes a special human being to take a dog in, knowing I'm gonna love this dog for a year and then they're gonna be gone.
Sure.
That's tough. But Betsy needs a home.
All right.
So here's Betsy. I'll show you a photo of her.
Aw. She does not look 11. Well, the gray kind of shows the
A little
age,
bit. Yeah, a little bit.
but she does not look 11 years old.
And
14
and
14.
there's
She's
no
14, right?
information here that says what kind of breed she is. So I don't know, but
You said 14. yes?
14 years old.
Wow.
Yep. 14 years old.
Aw.
I'll hand that over to you, Matt. You can take a closer look.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see the grumpiness a
Yeah,
little bit.
that little gray.
I can see the grumpiness a little bit
yeah.
in the face. Come on, look. See, she's adorable.
And I have to give credits. Kendra, my wife, sent me this one because
Okay.
she said, I just saw this face and I just thought, look at her. She's just like, she just wants somebody to love her.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. So anyway, Betsy at the Woodhaven Animal Shelter.
Thank you for that.
I'll give you the link and the number to contact them in the show notes. So check that out. Give Betsy a home.
Please.
All right, folks. Those of you on Facebook Live, stick around. We're going to be right back for episode number 2, part 2 of Dealing with Trauma. Those of you listening on whatever platform you're on, you can skip ahead to the next episode or wait till the next Tuesday or Thursday when it drops. In the meantime, change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. We'll see you next time. In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast, we're talking about dealing with trauma. And I know I said in the intro of last episode, it's a little bit heavy, but I think it's very useful and very helpful for those of you who have had traumatic events in their life and are wondering, how do I get through this? How do I deal with this? That's the big thing. So this is part 2 of dealing with trauma. And as usual, we're giving away free stuff as we always do. Hang in there, folks. We'll be right back.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, my friends? This is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist, and we're back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast.
You know, I've waited all week for this part 2.
Well, you couldn't have waited all week because you were here for part 1.
I still waited a week to get to this point.
To part 2. Okay.
You have a brain like a chicken.
It took you a second.
What in blazes are you talking about?
No, I'm happy to be back.
Yeah. That is Matt Fox, the other voice you hear. We're
Hello.
here in the podcast Your Voice, Southfield Studios.
Yes, we are.
Hanging out, having a drink, doing a podcast.
I'm almost empty. I don't know about you.
I am almost empty.
All right. I'll work on that.
Yeah, maybe a little dash of bourbon somewhere.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
fantastic.
Mhm.
So let me tell you, folks, first of all, we're in the podcast Your Voice, Southfield Studios. If you're interested in doing a podcast, this is the place to call, because I'm telling you, you walk in, you sit in the studio, you do your podcast, you go home. They handle all the technical side. They handle the uploading of the RSS feed. If you don't know what that is, that's more of a sign that you should hire Podcast Your Voice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Here we are.
And the studio is fantastic. You can see it right here.
Yeah.
And they have a full bar.
Well, sure. If you want to call it that.
There are a lot of bottles out there.
They may not be full, but you know.
And shout out to Todd, who's sitting with us. He's actually going to be working with Podcast Your Voice soon. So
potentially,
yeah,
we're here.
absolutely. We're here to show them what a podcast is, how it works, what we do. So yeah. So,
just
yeah.
absorbing.
Welcome, Todd. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me tell you, folks, where you can find me. First of all, my website is motorcityhypnotist.com. Check that out, especially if you're looking to do a show, because grad season is filling up very quickly, and we're within a couple weeks of grad season. Now, here's the thing. I don't know where you're listening. I mean, you could be in another country, which is fine. That works too, but it's regional here in the United States. Michigan doesn't have post-prom parties per se, or all-night parties. They have grad night lock-ins that last till early in the morning. But other states in the Midwest, like Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, North Dakota, they do prom night parties that are all-night lock-ins. So it kind of varies by region. But if you have a need for a hypnotist for your prom night or your grad night, check out motorcityhypnotist.com. Click on shows. You can get a quote, you can book it, and you can sign, and you can pay a deposit online without even speaking to anyone. So make sure you do that, because dates are filling up quickly. You can find me on social media. Facebook and YouTube are both Motor City Hypnotist, and Snapchat and Instagram are both Motor City Hypno. That is HYPNO. And as usual, as we do on every episode, we give away a free hypnosis guide. It's a PDF that I wrote. It just kind of in basic terms explains what hypnosis is, what it's not, dispel some myths and misconceptions. You can download it. It'll be downloaded right to your device if you just text the word hypnosis to 313-800-8510. And if you need that number, again, it's 313-800-8510. That is the number on our website also. So if you go to my website, you can see the number and text hypnosis to that number so that you won't have any issues. And the biggest thing is, wherever you're listening, whatever platform you're on, please subscribe and leave a review. So by subscribing or joining or connecting, whatever your podcast platform asks for, it just helps you get the show without looking for it. It drops right to your device as soon as it's released. So check that out. And the biggest thing is leave a review. That helps us out. It helps us get the show out to other people. More people find it. That'd be fantastic. So I would appreciate that very much.
Just do it.
Do it. Do it now. You could do it live.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
You could do it live. That's fine. It's all
Okay.
right. All right.
Is it?
It is time.
All right.
That's how winning is done.
That's a winner right there in your glass. That blackberry.
That blackberry.
After
Take
it's
it.
been, after it's
Okay,
been soaking in the bourbon.
Talk for like 10 seconds. I'm going to eat this blackberry.
All right, you do that. But the winner of the week is sponsored to you by, I have no idea. No, I'm excited for the winner of the week because there's a lot going on in the city of Detroit. I mentioned the draft earlier.
You did.
And the
Yep.
city of Detroit is ready for the draft.
We are.
And
it's building. They have a whole structure that they're building for this draft to take place in. So
right in the heart of campus.
They're
markets.
shutting down roads and yeah, it's a big event.
I myself will not be going downtown.
I will not be going down. In fact, I'll be in Iowa again this weekend.
Good for you. Get the hell out of here.
Beckman High School.
Okay.
In Dyersville, Iowa.
Okay.
Dyersville's famous for.
Oh, where have I? That was it wasn't a Stephen King thing. It was Goosebumps.
Nope.
What was it? What is it? Well, I know I've heard Dyerswood before.
Dyersville is where Field of Dreams is.
Oh, that's right. Okay. If you build it.
In fact, I went and saw Field of Dreams a couple years ago when I was in Iowa for a show.
Okay.
Granted, it was in the spring and it was April and there was a snowstorm right before I got there, so it didn't have that same effect. But it was cool. It was cool to see it. It was. I bet it was really cool.
I bet
it was fantastic. So, winner of the week.
Yes.
So I don't know if you. I'm just going to ask you, and then I'll read the story. Did you hear about this story about this boy who caught a baseball and somebody stole it from him?
It's happened
in major league games.
It's happened a few times.
This asshole.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So, when 8-year-old Camden Cleveland plays baseball, Camden Cleveland, doesn't it sound like a baseball player's name?
It does.
He wears uniform number 25 on his back in honor of his favorite player, Byron Buxton.
Okay.
So Tuesday was a surreal day when he got the opportunity to have Buxton sign a baseball for him.
Fair.
But surreal turned to devastating when, as Father Sam Cleveland described it, an unknown fan snatched the ball from the usher, bringing it to Camden, and ran away with it.
What the?
Yeah, I know.
That's terrible.
Fucking hooligans.
Now you listen to me, mister. God did not put me on this earth to be awakened by filthy suggestions from a foul-mouthed hooligan like you.
Yeah. Wow. What a jerk.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thanks to lightning quick spreading of the word all over social media, Buxton, Bally Sports, North Sideline reporter Audra Martin, the Twins, and the Orioles all came together to give Camden a day he described as the best day ever.
Perfect.
Making it right with not only a special day at the ballpark, but also a Buxton signed ball, bat, and batting gloves.
All right.
So let me give you the background of this. They were away.
Okay.
Twins were playing in Baltimore, so they're at Camden Yards.
Oh, okay.
So the kid is a Twins fan. Byron Buxton is on the Twins.
Mm-hmm.
So the person that took it was in Baltimore Stadium.
Was an Orioles fan.
Yes. Or maybe, who knows? That's where it was stolen from.
Okay.
For my son at 8 years old to be able to experience that's a core memory, Sam Cleveland said.
Sounds traumatic.
That it does sound traumatic. Yeah. That's something he is always, let me read this right. It's worded weirdly. That's something that he's always going to remember for the rest of his life. He's going to see the good of humanity. Just letting him know I appreciate the support, Byron Buxton said. I've got your back.
Nice.
After Camden drowned his sorrows in pizza and chicken tenders on Tuesday, Sam and Ashley Cleveland decided to try again with their son on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
After Buxton had vowed to make things right on social media. When they pulled into the parking lot, they found a direct message waiting for them from the Orioles instructing him to call a number.
Mm-hmm.
On the line was a representative of the Orioles owner, David Rubenstein, inviting the family to sit in the Rubenstein's own seats in the front row adjacent to home plate.
Nice.
With a bag of Orioles goodies also waiting for them. That was the first surprise, said Sam, a Wisconsin native and huge Twins fan who moved to Annapolis, Maryland in 2011 to join the Coast Guard.
It's a beautiful area, by the way. Annapolis, Maryland.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
well, yeah, you're a military brat. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Then the top of the fourth inning rolled around, and Martin, who had been spreading the story around the Twins clubhouse before the game, found the family in their seats. From a bag, she produced the gifts that Buxton had entrusted her in the clubhouse to bring to the family. And when Camden saw them, there were tears behind the large sunglasses he was wearing. I never thought I was even going to get a gift, Camden Cleveland said. It made me feel really, really happy. The best day ever. Buxton did remember signing for Camden on Tuesday, he said, but he didn't have any idea what had happened until he saw the clamor on social media later. He said he thought of his 3 boys And during the interview, he suppressed the words that immediately came to mind when thinking about the kind of person that would do this to a child. Don't worry, we covered that.
Yeah, we did. Asshole.
Like this in the background. What the fuck is it with you?
Yeah, honestly.
Buxton stated, I just didn't know somebody grabbed his ball. That's the sucky part of it, is you do everything you're supposed to do right to get an autograph from your favorite person. Being in this position, I'm glad, or I'm in, and to have that happen, that's obviously not something I want to happen to my kid. I felt bad. I felt the need to do a little more and try to brighten up his day. Sam Cleveland said he tried to initially use the rotten moment as a life lesson for his son, and Buxton echoed that sentiment as he wished he could have talked to Camden about such difficulties that can sometimes come up in life, like he would to his own sons. But even when faced with such moments, Sam Cleveland says his kid is the kind to still try to see the good in humanity, pointing out that when situations aren't fair to others around him and trying to push away the idea that life is sometimes not fair. And on Wednesday, the goodness of Buxton and the baseball world indeed won out.
That's great.
So good story. I mean, okay. So I know this is not a life-threatening traumatic event, but as a kid, as an 8-year-old, that's a traumatic event.
Sure.
To have this baseball coming to you and somebody stole it.
Well, my question is, did he have the ball and it was taken from him?
No, it was taken from an usher who's bringing it to him.
Oh,
yeah.
What the? All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
see, go even at my age, I'm almost 50 years old. When I go to a ball game and a ball's coming at me, I get excited. I'm like,
absolutely.
It's gonna be the first time I've ever caught a ball in a major ballpark.
I'm almost 60 years old. I've never caught a foul ball.
Okay,
let me tell you a story, Matt. So I was probably 8. I was probably this age. I was probably 8. My brother and I and my dad took us to a ball game at Tiger Stadium.
Okay.
We're sitting in the upper deck on third baseline. I remember this vividly because it was on my opportunity. So, and again, this is in the late 70s. So Ben Ogilvy of the Tigers was up to bat. I remember the batter who was up.
What pillar were you behind at Tiger Stadium?
we weren't behind a pillar, because I'm going to tell you why. So Ogilvy fouls a ball off and it comes right at us.
Okay.
Right at my brother and I. We both lean to each side, hits the seat and bounces back onto the field.
Oh boy.
And we're like, oh.
Why did we go okay?
I mean, we're 8. We didn't know. Try and catch it.
Yeah.
Or get your face smashed in. I don't know. It was self-preservation at that point. But but the whole point is, that's the closest I came to even touching a foul ball.
Right.
Yeah. And that was when I was 8.
So I'm gonna share a story with you.
Sure.
Because I have caught a ball in a ballpark.
Nice.
I was at a AA game at Jimmy John's Field in Macomb County. And we're out in the nosebleed, aka the lawn area.
Yeah.
And the bases were loaded and a left-hander. We were sitting kind of, centerish field area. And I had a beer in my hand, a nice IPA, going on. My kids were there, family was there, and this left-hander gets up, and I'm like, watch it, he's gonna hit it out of the park. And sure as shit, he hit that ball, it cracked it, and it was coming right at me. I had a beer in my right hand. My daughter's sitting on the ground. I stand up. I'm like, I got it. And I catch this ball in my arm.
No way.
And at the same time, spilled my beer all over my kid.
Small sacrifice. You got the ball.
My kid's reaction was, that was the coolest thing ever.
Absolutely.
Because you caught a grand slam home run, right?
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
As soon as I caught that ball, some guy did come running up to me. And he's like, dude, I will buy you another beer. That was my brother that just hit that ball. Can I have that ball? And I said, I have nothing. I don't need it. Here you go. Sure, he brought me a beer.
Really?
Yeah, because I spilled mine all over my kid.
Well, you gave your ball away for a beer.
Yeah.
And the kids weren't disappointed?
No, my kids don't care about that.
Well, okay. Well, good then. That's fantastic.
No, going to a ball game. No, so my point is, it doesn't matter what age, you're excited to catch a ball.
Well,
at
sure.
a game.
No, absolutely. As an adult, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
It was fun.
So yeah, that's our winner of the week for sure.
Perfect.
That's how winning is done.
That was a positive traumatic event. See,
Right. Well, it wasn't. Yeah.
I'm mincing it together.
Yeah, you're mincing it a little bit.
A little bit.
All right.
Go on.
So, back to it.
Okay.
All right, folks. So we're talking about dealing with trauma, and we know, like I said, it's a heavy topic, but I think it's important that we talk and give you some direction and some information that's going to help you, especially if you're a victim of trauma or a traumatic event. So we talked in the part 1, and if you're not listening to part 1, jump back an episode and catch up, or you can listen to it after this. You'll still get all the information. It's all good.
Good.
So we talked in the first episode about really what is a traumatic event? How does PTSD happen? We talked a lot about the symptoms you might be experiencing, and you don't know you're suffering from PTSD. So check that out. That's definitely important to kind of get you to where we're at now.
Love it.
So here's the thing. Adults, children, and adolescents react different to traumatic events. It's a difference as far as the development of your mind,
they process
understanding,
it.
They process it different.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times children and adolescents can have extreme responses to traumatic events, but necessarily the symptoms aren't the same as adults.
Would it be because they haven't had enough life experiences to
Probably.
reflect back on?
Think about if you're like, I'll throw it out an age, 8-year-old.
Okay.
You know, how much do you understand, or how much can you kind of deduce from events that happen? A lot of times it's, again, you haven't developed a sense of self or confidence or realization of what happens in the world. So a lot of times it's just a shock. It's a shock to the system, because it's like, whoa, what is this?
Sure.
This is not good. So a lot of times in children, especially children younger than 6, they don't know how to verbalize their feelings. They don't know how to express themselves.
Right.
They don't know how to talk to somebody about this. So some symptoms that children may have that adults typically don't, bedwetting after they've been potty trained.
Sure.
That's a big sign.
It's not a regression. This is full on because of that event
Right.
itself.
The event triggered a regression in behavior, or I shouldn't say behavior, in training. Let's say that.
Okay.
Forgetting how to talk or being unable to talk. Now, I have dealt with a couple of clients, not many, because I don't say it's rare, but fairly rare. I had an adolescent teenager who was probably 13 or 14 that had selective mutism.
Selective. I've never heard
So
that term.
selective mutism is just, she will only talk in situations where she feels 100% safe and confident, which is rare. So honestly, the first, I'm going to say 3 or 4 sessions with this young lady, she didn't talk at all. I would ask her questions, and sometimes she would nod.
Okay.
Yes or no.
So she was still communicating, but just not verbally.
Correct. And then I think maybe the second or third session, I said, do you mind, would it be okay if you write it down?
Right.
That work? And again, these are all things to ease her into being in a trusting relationship where she felt more safe being able to speak.
Okay.
So eventually we got to the point where she started talking.
Okay.
Probably, 4 sessions in.
Wow.
And again, she had dealt with trauma as a young child.
And it took you a long time to gain that trust.
Well, and that's the whole point of a therapist, is you have to be able to trust your therapist. If you can't, if you don't have that, it's not going to work for you.
Right. And you worked hard to gain that trust.
Well, but that's kind of the point. That's what therapists should do. I mean,
don't give up.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And some therapists may not do that. And that's why I've always said, and you've probably heard me say this a million times if you listen to our show for any length of time, that you have to have the right therapist. Just because somebody's a therapist doesn't mean they're good. That I'm telling you this I've been in this business for 30 plus years, and I know I've worked with therapists who are complete idiots. I'm just telling you. Make sure that it's a right fit and that it's somebody that you can trust. And that may take, unfortunately, 3, 4, 5 tries maybe to find the right therapist, but it's to your benefit to find somebody who's going to be able to help you.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Other symptoms for kids, acting out scary events, the scary event during a playtime. And that's why a lot of children, especially under the age of 10, I do a lot of play therapy with.
Okay.
We'll play games, we'll do action figures, we'll do cars, we'll do whatever. We have a whole bunch of stuff in the office.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see behaviors, especially in games, because kids don't, especially if they're seeing a therapist, they don't know how to just talk. They can't talk for 55 minutes and share what they're feeling.
Right.
It's just they don't know how to do it.
Through their play, you start
Through the play, I can see certain things or certain behaviors,
and
or
you're
gauge
gauging
what they're afraid of, what they're resistant to do,
Mhm.
things that they're happy with. So that's a big thing. Being unusually clingy with a parent or a caretaker.
Unusually clingy. So can you elaborate?
I would say being very withdrawn or super shy, or just like if your parents took your kids to Chuck E. Cheese and the kid won't leave the parent's side.
Like they're clung to the leg.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Just won't let go.
Yep.
And the parent is dragging a child around via the leg. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the unusually clingy part.
Right. Now, teenagers, it's kind of a hit or miss because you're in that transition from childhood to adulthood.
It's so, and it's so difficult to gauge a teenager,
Mhm.
especially in this day and age, because there's so much that they have access to.
Absolutely. With social media and the internet, I don't want to sound like the old guy down the
No,
block.
no, not at all. But they
Get
can
the hell off of my lawn.
But honestly,
Oh, great Odin's raven.
with the amount of stuff they have access to, they traumatize themselves without even
Well,
knowing.
that happens too, and I see a lot of that. And I just saw a story the other day, and it's going to be very vague because I don't remember the details. But the whole details was one state is considering a bill to ban social media for children under the age of 14.
I remember seeing a story in that.
Yeah.
It was in a county.
Yes, and I don't remember.
I don't
where.
remember either.
But the point is, it is very, and it's not. I'm not against progression or advancement of society. Things change. Things, we had one TV in our house growing up. I mean, things change.
It was black
Things
and white,
evolve over
black and
time.
white with ears. Dave?
No, we did have rabbit ears. We had to bang on the TV to get it to tune in sometimes, those kind of things.
Did you turn it to the antenna sometimes and just have to hold it a certain way?
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Yes, put foil on it.
Yeah.
Put foil on the antennas.
You got braces on.
Yeah.
Touch that thing.
So it's different with teenagers. Typically with teenagers, their response to a traumatic event, and you'll know as soon as I say it, because you have kids, Matt.
Yeah.
Being disruptive, disrespectful, destructive behaviors, withdrawal.
Yeah. The withdrawal is a big sticking point because one day they're just happy go lucky, and all of a sudden the next day they just won't talk to anybody.
Well, yeah, and I have a 21-year-old. He's not even a kid, but
he's still your kid.
He's still, how do I say this? And this is not an insult in any way.
No, not at all.
Because his trauma, well, one of his traumas, I believe, was going through COVID during his senior year of high school. Because
sure, that was a lot
from
of kids,
March to the end of the year when he graduated, they weren't even in person.
Right.
So he missed out on prom. He missed out on a huge graduation. They did graduation ceremonies, but it was only 20 students at a time.
For a class of 200?
No, 300,
300
320, something like that.
It took 2 months.
Yeah. So he didn't get to walk with his friends. So those kind of things. And even though as an adult, I can say, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But it is a big deal.
You've had life experiences.
Well, no, absolutely. And that, so in framing that, I can kind of see, yeah, okay, that sucks. But
for teenagers, they process things in a much faster way than what we did as teenagers.
No, absolutely, because of social media and having instant access to everything.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. I would have to go to a newspaper. Thank God I delivered them back in the day.
Newspaper.
How old are you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm old. I mean, everything in my day was ball bearings.
Oh, come on, guys. It's so simple. Maybe you need a refresher course.
Hey,
it's all ball bearings nowadays.
Right. No, I just say, the access that these kids have to the world today.
Yeah.
is 300 times more than what we had access to when we were kids. So our way, that the way that we process things is through life experiences. They process through instant information.
Yeah, instant access or instant gratification. That's
Sure.
the other thing,
There it is.
because sometimes gratification is not instant. It's crazy. I don't
Speak for
know.
yourself.
Oh, good for you.
No, but that's where helping to raise teenagers, having already raised teenagers, and then being a part of a family raising teenagers at the same time, the challenges are there. And I'm raising teenagers that are different from the teenagers I raised because of the information that is now accessible. Right.
So here's the thing: if you've been a victim, or if you've experienced a traumatic event and you feel like it's affecting you, I'm going to give you some tips as far as things that you can implement to get you where you need to be.
Did we touch on the adults yet? Because we talked about children, we talked about teenagers. What about adults?
Well, the adults were kind of grouped in the beginning as far as those symptomologies,
Okay.
and then we talked about children and adolescents.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, just making sure.
Yep. So let me tell you some things that you can implement to help you get through PTSD or whatever trauma that you experienced.
Okay.
Some of these are I don't know what the word, self-evident, not self-evident. Some of these are common sense.
Common sense.
Common
yes.
sense.
Yeah, okay.
Avoid the use of alcohol or drugs.
What?
It just modifies your thinking. But here's the thing: when people deal with trauma and terrible feelings, typically they're going to turn to something that will make them feel better.
Sure.
Alcohol, drugs, pot, whatever. And I'm not criticizing any of these things, but what happens is if you're using them to squash feelings and memories,
I almost want to say self-medicate.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. So if you're using that to cope with bad memories, it's not going to end well. In fact, what will happen is you're just going to have to continue to use more and more to keep those thoughts and feelings at bay. The best thing is I'm going to say just give up, but you need to feel these feelings so we can work with them and figure out what to do with them.
Common sense. Yes.
Spend time with people who you trust and are supportive. That's a big thing. I mean, if you're younger, parents, friends, family, therapist, teacher.
It goes back to surrounding yourself with people who you trust. That we did an episode on, people that you depend on.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And it could be your neighbor. It could be your
whoever you feel safe with, whoever you trust. That's a big thing. This is a big thing. And this applies to children, adolescents, and adults. And adults will argue with me on this. But here's the thing. It's maintain a routine. Maintain a routine for meals, for exercise, for sleep. Now, I know a lot of adults will be like, I don't want to get locked into that. Even kids do this. I don't want to go to school. But here's the thing. I'm telling you that there's no way to make you believe this except to say that, trust me on this. I've been doing this for 30 years. I know people need a structure.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll use a brief example. People that win the lottery and quit their jobs and they don't have to do anything except what they want to do.
Yeah, that's so bad.
They end up just self-imploding because they have no purpose anymore. There's no structure to their life.
Actually, and I could probably share this with you off mic, but I've actually had a mental thought as to what would I do if I did win the lottery. Would I quit my job? The job I have now,
right?
Probably,
yeah.
But I would get myself ingrained with things that I believe in.
Well, or things that you enjoy doing.
But I wouldn't stop the routine that I have. You get up every morning.
That's the important thing. You get up every day. You shower. You take care of yourself. You do hygiene. You have someplace that you feel satisfaction going to,
if I
or some reward.
And the other thought was, if I believe in the place where I work, would I invest more time with them?
Well, here's the thing, and gosh, I've said this probably a million times too. If do something you, and this is a question I ask clients: if money were not an option, what would be your job? what would you go and do for a living every day?
I'd invest in your therapy practice.
But see, that's the whole thing. It's that if you're going to a job that you hate every day, then I have to say, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
What would you feel good going to every day?
It's a tough question to answer.
It is.
It's a
And
very
it's
tough
something
question.
that you'd have to think about and say, well, what do I have the skill for? I mean, I know some things are not realistic.
Yeah.
At 60 years old, I'm not going to be a professional athlete. I know that.
No.
That would be a great dream as an 8-year-old, but not as a parent.
Paralympics, man.
If I lost a limb.
Special Olympics.
I ain't listening to you no more.
But the point is, people need to have a structure to keep them on track.
Yeah, 100% agree.
That is across the board.
100%.
The other tip, and these are the big three. I'm going to add to this. On my outline, I have engage in exercise, mindfulness, or other activities that help reduce stress. I'm going to give you the big three. And this, when I'm dealing with people with any type of struggle, anxiety, depression, PTSD, sleep, diet, exercise. Those are the three major pillars that you have to put in place. And I don't care if it's 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day or 2 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sleep 8 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
You have to eat right.
3
and
times
you have
a
to
day.
exercise.
Right.
It sounds simple, but I'm telling you, if you get these three things put in place, you are going to feel better.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I'm just saying, it's you have to have this. That this is how. I'm overstating it, but
no, if
you don't
100%.
have these things, you're not going to feel good about yourself.
Right.
You won't.
You won't.
Because there's no structure, there's no direction, there's no purpose in your life.
Right. And you need to find the time to make it a part of your daily routine,
and
a part of your life.
Well, and like I said, when I say exercise, a lot of clients will be like, I don't have time. I'm like, do you have 10 minutes during your day?
That's all you need.
Can you break 10 minutes off? Because people think exercise are like, I don't have 2 hours to spend at the gym every day. But that's not what I'm saying. I've told clients, do you have a 2-story house?
Walk
your stairs for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Really, I'm serious. It sounds silly, but you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the major 3 pillars: sleep,
diet,
exercise.
What are you going to add on to that?
Honestly, if you do those 3 things, you're going to feel better.
And you add those 3 things, what would be the next thing that you could potentially add?
Well, then I would say, and this goes into how to find help for coping with PTSD.
Okay.
If you implement these things, then it's time to see a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you implement all of those things and you still are struggling, then you need to get help. And this is not
Let me step back.
Yeah.
Step one should be, if you really feel that you cannot accomplish those items, maybe you should find help first.
Well,
to
that
help you get to point 1, point 2, and point 3.
If you can't get those three things done on your own, yes, definitely seek professional help.
Thank you.
That will get you to there.
Right.
If you're doing those things and you still don't feel better, you still need professional help. Now,
Fair.
This sounds very cliche, very trite, and it's not, but talking about things helps you process them. That's kind of the whole point of any trauma. You have to talk about it. You have to look at it. You have to examine it. We have to process it. And I know that's a very relatively subjective statement, but that's how therapy works.
Do you remember the television show Dear John?
I do.
And the therapist?
Yes.
Her number one question to everybody: do you have any sexual problems?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the actress, but that always stuck with me for some reason, because everyone needs a therapist at some point in their life.
I've said this, and I'll say it. I probably should say it every show. It should be like some in the intro or something, but everybody's fucked up.
Yeah.
Everybody has issues they can deal with.
Right.
Everyone should be talking to someone responsible, professional. That's a therapist.
Right. And we've had episodes in the past. If you don't have the insurance that's going to cover said, services,
Well,
there are
there are places like community mental health.
You've got your Easter Seals out there.
Yep.
You've got
Yep.
organizations
Yep.
that are there to help you get into those needs that you have.
Well, and I will vent a little bit. I know we're
You're fine.
Yeah, I will vent a little bit because there's this big. How do I say it? What's the term for lip service? That's the term I'm looking for. There's this big lip service out there that mental health is so important. We need to get people more mental health. The problem is nobody's doing anything to make that happen.
No, I will actually disagree. There are a lot of people out there trying to help that, but there are things that are happening that are pushing back, and people are agreeing with it.
Because here's the thing: people still have now. And again, I'm going to share. I'm going to self-disclose a little bit here.
Okay.
But I'm a business owner. I'm self-employed. I have to buy insurance on the marketplace. I have an $8,000 deductible for medical services.
For your practice.
For me.
For you personally?
Individually. Medical coverage.
Holy shit.
My deductible is $8,000. My wife's deductible is $8,000. And my son's deductible is $8,000.
And that's just because of the...
It's just based on the plan we have.
Wow.
Because so here's the thing. Think about that.
$8,000.
Many of my clients have deductibles and copays, and it makes it very difficult for them to consistently receive mental health treatment.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But my mind is blown over here. $8,000 out of pocket.
That's not unusual.
Wow.
That's not unusual at all right now. For if you're self-employed or you're buying plans off the marketplace.
Okay.
You don't have an employee sponsored plan,
right?
That's what you're looking at.
I'm always used to that employee sponsored plan.
Absolutely.
I'm used to a $1,500 deductible,
right,
annually.
Right.
$8,000 is blowing my mind.
Yeah, it really means you're paying cash for health insurance
for everything.
For everything, yes, unless there's a catastrophic thing that happens. So really, honestly,
a new liver.
And I've said this to my wife. I said, really, what we have is catastrophic insurance. That's the only way we're going to benefit from this insurance company is if there's something catastrophic. Otherwise, we're just paying cash. That's how it works.
Wow.
So my point being is that there's lip service about mental health being more accessible and getting everybody in mental health, but honestly, it has not happened yet. It's not there yet.
Mm-mm.
People we have people that make an appointment at our clinic. We schedule them. They come in the first visit and they say, your copay is $30. I can't afford that.
See, I have a problem with that. But...
Well, here's my thing. If it's beneficial for you, you'll find a way to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
But beside the point, or they have a deductible. This is the big one. People come in and we'll say, oh, you have a $2,000 deductible. So your first session is $150. They're like, oh, I'm not going to pay that. And they walk out. It's motivating people not to get help because they don't want to pay. That's the problem. So that's my whole sidetrack on health insurance and mental health coverage and things like that.
It is a racket.
It is. And I wish there would be some serious advancement or progress as far as changing insurance laws.
That's the term I'm looking for. I'm looking for a specific term. They just need to rewrite the whole system.
That we need to start from scratch. Yeah. Really, we do. Yeah.
Good luck.
And I'll tell you, here's the one thing. Optum Insurance, that's an insurance company that we deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what their profits were last year?
$2.4 billion.
That's it. You got it right on. Did you read that article?
I did not.
Oh,
I just took a wild guess.
That it is $2.3 something billion.
That's the and who
profit
and who is
that's one insurance company out of hundreds, if not thousands, across the country.
And who benefited from that?
The insurance companies.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Not who they covered.
No. So
I totally pulled that out of my ass.
No, you're almost right on. I mean, that's a great guess. Okay. So I gave you some tips to put into place that you can implement. The big thing is if you're experiencing any of these symptoms,
I should have put a pinky up to my.
You should have $2.4
billion. Yeah. Should have. Go on. So, my apologies.
So no, my point is that
Good for
yeah.
you.
So my point is, if you're dealing with any of these issues, any of this stress, any of these PTSD, any traumatic events, you need to take care of it, because if you just let it go, it's affecting you and you won't even know it.
Nope.
You'll have these symptoms and you'll be like, what the hell is going on?
Right.
So contact a professional. Again, as I mentioned earlier in this episode, find a therapist that you connect with and somebody that you trust, somebody who's good.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to do that, read reviews.
Yeah. Read the bios.
Read the bios. If you go to a place and they don't have bios of their therapist on the website, don't go there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, don't do it. We want to be transparent.
Yeah.
No, if there's no information, it's like, oh, Jim Jones, he sounds good. Let me go to therapy with him. He's got Kool-Aid. I'm going with him.
Is that Jones with an apostrophe S or
no? He said, yeah, we're having a retreat to
Malibu.
No, Guyana.
Jeez.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Oh,
I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
so all right. There's been I kind of want to dig in a little bit more on the next episodes.
Okay.
Next couple of
We could do that.
About traumatic events, because there's so much that is involved, and you've had traumatic events.
Yep.
I know I've had traumatic
Yep.
events, but there's so much more that we can dig into
Sure.
with these topics.
We could do that.
I would love to do that with you.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right.
Yeah. All righty, folks. That is it for this episode. Join us next Monday. Facebook Live. We record live on Facebook every Monday evening at 8
o'clock.
8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
8 to 9. So if you want to join us live, you can be a part of the show. You can kind of interact with us, ask questions.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people jump into Facebook Live and join the show.
Yep.
If you're on whatever podcast platform you're on, join us on Facebook. You can hear us live and hear the whole show and see it.
Yeah.
You could actually see my face. Not that you'd want to, but it's crazy.
I only see it once a week, and damn it,
I don't know.
What are you people? On dope?
So before we go, our dog of the
Detroit Dog Rescue.
Dog Rescue of the Week is Casino.
Casino
was born in 2022, so he's just
2 years old.
2 or less.
Yeah.
He's a mixed breed, neutered male, 50 pounds. He's dog friendly. Cat is unknown. Kids older than 8.
Okay.
His activity level is medium.
Okay.
So, but Casino needs a home. There he is.
Oh, look at Casino. It's a terrier.
Yeah. He's
It's
a
a
mixed breed.
terrier
So he's
mix.
probably got some other stuff in him, but that's fine.
The ears are terrier.
Right.
I can tell you that.
Yes, absolutely.
He's cute.
Casino needs a home. Here you go, Matt. You can take a look at Casino.
Casino. Look at those eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see when it says activity level medium, people are like, well, what does that mean? It probably walks, throw the ball around the yard.
You got to play a few times a day. I mean, he's
Yeah,
not, he's not going to tear your house apart. I
No,
mean,
make sure he's got some chew toys.
yeah, absolutely.
Still.
So Casino needs a home. DetroitDogRescue.com, adopt.
Take a gamble.
And he's 2. So you get him and have fun. Oh, I get it, Matt. I just got it.
Good for you.
I ain't listening to you no more.
Da-da-da-da like this in the background. What the fuck is it with you?
Thank you, David.
What the fuck are you doing?
Great heavens! What kind of radio show is this?
Oh, good for you.
There you go, Matt.
You are a one-button wonder tonight, man. Jesus.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, wait. I
Clean
missed
out your
one.
desk. You're gone.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah.
So
All right.
Facebook Live, folks,
Yep.
we do this 8 o'clock Eastern
Standard Time every Monday evening.
every Monday night.
Give or take some misses if we're, busy or out of town or
Yeah,
whatever.
but follow us and have a good time with it. We have a good time on the show.
No, absolutely.
And we have our
here's the
opinions,
thing,
but-
and I'm going to say this, and I've said it all along, and probably not said it in a while, but there are a lot of mental health podcasts out there. There are a lot of them that will come on and they'll talk to you for 20 to 30 minutes, and it's always very calm. And you're having a shame spiral. There's so much repressed anger in you.
What are you doing?
My point being is that a lot of most of mental health podcasts out there, it's just like all psychobabble. We want to make it like real and digestible and
relatable.
Yeah. That's why we're here. And we always wanted to make it fun because, mental health can be fun.
Yeah.
It can be.
You can make it fun.
You can make it fun. That's my whole point. So that's the whole point of why I started this podcast, is to reach people and that don't want to have a therapist just talking this foreign language to them. And they're like, what are you talking about? Why do you talk that way?
I wonder if they do that with their own family.
Maybe. So yeah, that is the big thing. So yes, definitely this is, we want to educate, we want to help, but we want to do it and have fun. That's the whole point of it.
I like it.
Alrighty, folks. That is the episode. Join us next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook Live, or just wait for the episodes to drop on your platform. In the meantime, change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. We'll see you next time.